Hello y'all, I am back once again with another video, and I'm also back on this exercise bike, y'all, trying to do the best I can with my health. It's a struggle, but I'm making it happen. This video is going to be something that touches my soul because I can feel what I feel in my soul. So I feel it so deep in my soul. And so I just want to say this. The empathic spirit is so misunderstood. And we make so many predictions. We can see your consequences. Sometimes even when we can't see our own. Because remember, we all have consequences. However, when you're dealing with a narcissistic son, it's one of the most painful situations, especially as they go into their adulthood or they are young adults. And this is the thing that narcissistic sons, when they're behaving narcissistically at that time, even if they are not a psychopath or a narcissist, this is the behavior. So the behavior is a I don't care lifestyle. And I had an experience yesterday, y'all. And remember, I follow my own advice. So when I'm having family drama and things like that, I'm not on here telling y'all to do stuff that I won't do. So when there's in-person conflict, have meetings over the phone. So yesterday I had this meeting, right? And it was with a professional and the person that's acting narcissistic and myself. And of course, it's on speakerphone so we can all hear one another. And it was quite educational and interesting, even for myself, because as an empathic person, you just never know what is going to come out of my mouth. Sometimes I don't even know when it's going to come, how it's going to come, and when it's going to need to come. I don't know, because a lot of what I'm going to say to somebody that I love, that I don't want to see in a horrible situation, a lot of what I'm going to say to them is coming from the Lord for their protection. So, kid you not, this meeting was about 30 minutes approximately long, phone meeting. And my son says to me, he says, because he's in this challenge with the Lord, y'all. He wants to, he's young, he wants to challenge the Lord. And I already know that the Lord and the universe ain't to be challenged, because we can't beat it. And we all must have karma, including me. See, I've received karma, so I'm trying to teach my son about karma. And so my son says to me, because I'm listing out all of the consequences for these behaviors, bad friends, lifestyles, even if the rest of the family is choosing not to live in the way that he's choosing to live. At the end of the day, he ain't my 5-year-old no more. From an empathetic point of view, I just want to go pick him up, put him in the bed, say, okay, it's good night. Let's wake up and let's do this, and all of this be a dream. But see, that's not how real life works, because I'm not no Lord either. So I can't control fully everything that my son does. So I'm listing out the consequences to my son: serious injury, death, incarceration, prison. These are the things I'm listing out. This is what this particular lifestyle leads to. We're on this conference call, and my son says to me, he says, But what about all this karma, Mom, you talking about? Yeah, Mom. When is all this karma gonna come, Mom? This karma. Yeah, when is it gonna come, Mom? About a day or two, or 2 to 3 days before that, there was a rap song posted, and the lyrics at the end said, F the Most High. I said something to my son about that. I raised him in a righteous enough way to where when I left that message, and I told my son several days ago, you're not going to be saying that to the Lord when he got questions for you on Judgment Day. That post was removed. My son removed that post. I teared up because I was so happy to see some level of good still in him, some level of respect for his mom, because that broke my soul. The post was something like gateway to hell, bragging about hell, saying the song said F the Lord. And I mean, may all those rappers that rap this stuff, may they all enter a hell, even if they're living in their own existence of hell. Because these young men, teenagers, and kids even younger than this are listening to this crap, right? And so how do we expect our generation to come out in the best way that they can listening to this mess? So anyway, going back to the conversation yesterday with my narcissistic son, he says, well, when is this karma gonna happen? Later that evening, I decide to go out alone. I said, well, I'm just gonna spend some time with myself today. I'm gonna go sit down and eat, go get some groceries. So I did both. I've been into going to the grocery store, y'all. I love grocery shopping. Every 2 to 3 days, I'm grocery shopping. And sometimes I go out to eat, maybe like once a week now, not every day. And so I'm walking alone, and I cross the street, and probably shouldn't have been, but I was on that cell phone. I was talking to a wonderful sister, and I see this bus. So I'm focused on the bus because I'm thinking the bus is going to make a right turn. And so I'm waiting because I don't want to get ran over by this bus. And as I'm walking across the street, I'm focused. I got that earpiece in. And this bus starts honking. Boing, bang, bang. I hear the honking. And I'm confused because I'm like, I'm fine. There's no cars around. Where am I going? So this bus is honking, honking, honking. And I feel this draft to the right of me. I feel this energy. There's a pickup truck getting ready to run me over. So I tell the sister on the phone, oh my goodness, I almost just got ran over. And it's just so ironic because my immediate relative, I just left Texas from a sudden accident upon my immediate relative. So I'm really thanking the Lord yesterday that I made it through that situation, because I was right here from getting hit. Within a snap of a finger, I could have been gone, y'all, just out of here. And so I stopped, and that bus driver couldn't stop because he was turning that corner. I could see enough to tell that was a gentleman that saved my life. And so I waved and thanked him. And I cheered him on for what he did because my life was spared. But see, I really thank the Lord that my life was spared because I got so much to say about the Lord, right? And I get to say it, and I get to speak about everything I need to say about the Lord, and I'm no longer a fornicator, right? So it's such a a beautiful thing within my soul to be able to speak about the Lord and even give my own son words of wisdom. Not judgment, but words of wisdom. That's what I did yesterday. And like I said, my son is playing this game with this karma thing. Like, when is this karma gonna come? This narcissistic, I'm so high and mighty, nothing can happen to me. And it's not here yet. When is this karma gonna come? And I said, son, your karma's already here. Because just you, even saying that you're a part of any bad interactions and dealings, even just you saying that, son, out of your mouth, you're already in karma. What do you mean what has to come? When you speak that that's what you are, and what you are, and what you plan to be, and what you continue to be, is in the midst and in the group of bad people, bad organizations, bad peers, people that are triggering addictions in you. Basically, I'm saying this in so many words, but I said it briefly. You're already in karma. It's right now. And so there was this silence. Remember, I'm on the phone, so I'm not in this meeting. My son is in this meeting with this professional, and I'm on that phone to help. And this is the thing about empathy, y'all. I wish I wasn't right. I wish I wasn't right. When I speak, what comes out of my mouth, the words of wisdom that only can come from the Lord, I don't have no power to do any of that. I ain't got nobody. I ain't got no Jesus or no Muhammad, David, Joseph, Job. I don't have any of these people to send back anywhere. I have no power. Only the Lord does. And so there was no debating with my son. There was no debating from this professional. It just was this awkward silence on the phone, because I don't even know if the professional or my son had ever heard anything like this. I don't even know if I had heard anything like this. It just came out of my mouth. The karma's now, just by the way you think. Saying you're a part of any bad organization, and that's what you're saying out of your mouth, the karma's here. You're just sitting back for the rest of it. The karma's here. Destruction comes later. But like I said, I don't want to be right. Then I go out, of course, and I decide to eat by myself, grocery shop by myself, because I don't want to be so controlling with my family, you know. They're not my puppies. They don't want to go everywhere with mom and their relative. They don't want that. You know, you got to let people have their space, y'all. And so I was saved. And I wasn't hit by that pickup truck. Thank the Lord to the bus driver. But I get home. It was past 10, y'all. I know you might say, oh, you a woman, you should be in earlier. I got home, it was about 10:30 at night, somewhere around there. And another relative tells me that there was a call from a police officer asking for my son's birthday. So here we are, you know, within that phone conversation that was 30 minutes earlier, that conference call that was on speakerphone and all of that, we're going in, let me see, that was about 1:30, so it's about 10:30. So 9 hours later, my other relative is saying, well, they're calling my phone. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. It came from a private number. They're asking for your son's birthday. So I'm like, what's going on? Is he alive? Is he fine? What do you mean they want his birthday? What's the police officer's phone number? Who do I call? What do I do? So my relative knew the police department, so gave me the police department. So I called 911. I got transferred to that police department, figured out what was going on. So, like I said, I'm 9 hours into this since this phone conversation earlier. But this is what happened. Within 5 hours of me talking to my son about karma, he was arrested. And the police officer told me that he cried, y'all. And see, I know my son, this ain't just no tears. See, you got them tears where you want out of this situation, y'all. But that ain't the tears that I felt. Oh, and I want to point this out. My son said this. When I said what I said about karma, and it's going on right now with you, son, within some minutes of me saying that, we got off that phone and my son said, I love you, Mom. And it wasn't so much like I love you and I want you to know it. It was one of those, I love you because I respect what you just said. Because remember, narcissistic attitudes and empathy, we're going to clash. We're going to be like oil and water. Okay? But remember, a lot of times our young people outgrow this. Have I ever had a narcissistic attitude? Yes. Did I outgrow much of that? Yes. Because I have to live and learn too. Remember, karma's for all of us. So my son says, I love you, Mom. And so within 5 hours of that conversation, the Lord made a call. The Lord said, you're going to jail tonight. Nothing big. It's petty as of right now. It's petty as of right now. It's the jail part is not petty, but sometimes you got to sit in jail for the night. That's where the Lord gonna put you. And the Lord puts some of the best of them in jail and prisons. Sometimes that's where you need to be to change your life, to learn your lesson. And so it was just so amazing how I cried. You know, when the whole family went to bed, I cried because I know I'm right. I know I'm giving the right advice. I know I have that empathy. I don't want nothing to happen to you. I don't want nothing to happen to my son. However, when it all boils down, I dislike that I'm right, even though I'm gonna be right. But see, me and my son, we in a power struggle with that right versus wrong. But at the end of the day, I want my son free. I want my son to be able to survive and live a good life, stress-free. You know, but see, the problem is with a lot of these young people, they get bored, y'all. And the police officer said, my son, your son, not my son, your son asked me to call you. And see, this ain't no bail you out thing. And the police officer says that my son cried. And you know, it's about time. It's about time because I know what the next move is that the Lord is doing. Because see, it's almost like when you have empathy, that intuition, what's happening is he's getting tired, y'all. He's seeing that, wow, Mom is right. This just ain't working. Don't mean he's gonna change. It means none of that, because when someone has narcissism or acting that narcissistic, like they're the new God now, that's a serious narcissistic attitude when you start challenging God. Like, when is this karma gonna come? Well, son, it came within about 5 hours. And I found out about your karma in about 9 hours. And at the end of the day, when these children get of age, they gotta make their choice, y'all. See, that's the thing. You can't strap them in a high chair no more and a playpen and make them do anything. Remember, the prodigal son. He had to go out there and figure this all out. But I do know that if my son could turn the situation around for the better and start thinking about consequences, which that's the toughest part of a narcissistic attitude, is thinking about those consequences. Having more remorse, having more of a conscience, even for the family that hurts when they're arrested. I don't care if your son or daughter goes to jail for one night, their entire life. My son never went to prison. Thank the Lord. But see, this is where I'm trying to tell him and to get him to stay out of. And it starts with your consequences. When you start going into these jails. Because then, okay, it goes, you do one night in jail. Then you do 3 nights in jail. Then you do 4 nights in jail. Then you're doing 8 months in jail. Now you got to do a couple years in prison. 5 years, 10 years. I mean, this all escalates. Some of these people never get out of prison. Ever. They never get out. And in some cases, that's the safest place for them and the safest place for the people that are on the outside. Because sometimes it's protecting more people from getting hurt. However, this channel is so therapeutic. You know, that was a word that my cousin used, y'all. I'm sorry for that. My cousin, she said, your channel's therapeutic for you. And I would have to agree with that because I have somewhere where I can vent and talk about these things. And as I get comfortable, I can be more open. You know, I'm private, so I definitely respect people enough not to mention their names, right? I mean, I just try to be respectful. However, empathic people, when we tell you what we know, especially about our Lord and the universe and how karma works and how things are designed to lay out. We've watched this rodeo. We've seen it. We've been around so many people our whole lives. We don't want it to happen to you. And that's the sad thing. It's just like we don't want it to happen to you, but the narcissistic person or the person that has narcissism, sometimes psychopathy could even be an illness that's there. It could be much, much more. Because the person is crying out, whether it be your son or your daughter, niece or nephew, they're crying out. However, a lot of times they wish they could stop it. Do they want to be like this? Is this the design that they want to have? However, you can't fix nobody's brain. You can't fix nobody's relationship with the Lord when they decide to play around with the Lord and actually think that they're just that lucky, that karma's going to miss them, and then play a game with their mom about it. However, a person's on a good road when they can silence themselves, when they hear the information. It silenced everybody on that phone and just let the universe work it out. But within 5 hours, a lesson was learned. And within 9 hours, a lesson was learned for me because I found out about it. I'm very very grateful that my son is getting to the point where he sees that he does have a mom. He does have a family. But see, when you get a certain age, you got to start pulling your own weight. You don't have a right to put anyone else in your family in danger because of your lifestyle and your behaviors. I, as an empathetic woman and as a mother and as a human being, I have a right to be safe. And if anyone, even if it's my own son, is not offering safety in my life, you don't belong in this home anymore. You got to get yourself together. You got to get your own home. You're a man now. You're a young man. Some of y'all going through it with teenagers. So, I'm going to say this. And this has been one of my satisfactions out of life. Just say it. Say the truth. It is true. That's true what I said. However, did I know my Lord would be dealing with my son within 5 hours? But at the same time, blessing him. You know what the police officer said to me? He said, someone's gonna come across your son's path. And they're gonna help save him and put him on a better road. Someone's gonna come across your son's path. And they're gonna be someone that loves the Lord. And that's how he'll learn his lesson. So you see how the universe works? See, because your karma is sometimes the way you're gonna get blessed too. I didn't tell my son that part. I'll share that with them after he's released from jail. He'll just be in there for the night, God willing. But that's right. You got to go through that karma to get to your blessing. Because you got to pay that debt. Whatever energy you putting out there, you got to pay that debt. And I'm so grateful that the Lord gave me sons, gave me daughters, gave me a life, and allowed me to exist, to even be able to explain what I've learned and what I've experienced to my own son. And I don't care how old he gets and what he goes through and what his choices are. He'll always be my butterfly boy. There's this video of my son when he was a little boy. And he's the butterfly boy. You know, he was watching the butterflies. We were at a, what do you call that? I can't think of the name right off the top of my head. But, you know, there's the butterflies and all these lights and all these animated things at this center that we were at. And he's pointing at the butterflies. He said, is it that one right there? Is it that one right there? And he's looking up and he's seeing them all. And you know, he's always searching for that boy. He told me one time, he says, how can I find the butterfly? I apologize. I didn't mean to mispronounce that. How can I find the butterfly boy again, Mom? And I didn't think of telling him this at the time, but I think that the way he can find the butterfly boy, if he wants to find that boy again, is through complete obedience to the Lord, being respectful to his parents and the rest of his family, and getting away from bad, psychopathic, narcissistic, sociopathic crowds of people. And at some point not thinking that that's the fun thing to do. Because it's not fun when your mom cries because their son is in jail for even one night. That's just not fun, y'all. And I remember, other things my son was saving when he was little. I don't even know if I want to mention that, but he talked about, even in his death, how he wanted to be handsome and well groomed, even in a casket. He was just that type of boy. He just said what was on his mind. But see, I want him to leave this earth in old age, not young age. That's what I want. But ultimately, all of that's up to the Lord. For you all out there that got sons, and some of y'all got daughters that go through this. This jail thing, this prison thing, this getting with the bad peers, and hanging out with these narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths, and your children acting like one and potentially being one themselves. This is for daughters too. Women are losing their daughters to drugs, prostitution. The devil loves to take family. At the end of the day, he wants my son, my daughter, your daughter. He wants anybody he can grab, anybody that's vulnerable to what the devil's offering, what all the evil in the universe is offering. So I just thought I would share that experience, because as an empathic person, the information I give, I wish it wouldn't happen. I wish that you could joke about karma and think it won't come your way so very soon. And it didn't come your way. But like I said, let's look at karma as a beautiful thing, because we got to walk through karma sometimes to get to our blessing. And as we continue to go through those paths, I just thank the Lord that, you got to remember this. We got to stop arguing with people. That call could have easily been that my son's life was gone. And you see how that ended? That ended with good knowledge. Mom, I love you. Son, I love you so much too. I love you more. It ended on a positive note. And myself and my son are still alive, but we got to be careful with all this arguing, because we never know when that last day is for him or me or any of us. Yeah, so that's just all I got to say. We give that advice, but we dislike it when it comes true sometimes. And anybody that plays around with the Lord, teach them. Do it safely over the phone. For these violent older adults, these males and females that don't want to learn, that are willing to get violent with you, forget them. Let's save these young people though. In my case, my son's still young. Hopefully he outgrows this. Hopefully, my wish is that we can somehow have the most successful, respectful mother and son relationship ever. Healthy relationship with boundaries and respect. And we both respect one another's knowledge. Because this butterfly boy of mine, he had knowledge. This was not the son I ever thought would go off track. See, it's always the one you don't think of go down that road. This was my so-called intelligent one, y'all. But see, intelligent boys and girls get together with unintelligent and off-track boys and girls. Maybe they're all intelligent, but they're off track. Some on track, some off track. The ones that are off track are pulling the other ones in. But I'm going to end it with this. I love my son, my butterfly boy, and may he rest tonight and pray in that cell. And may the Lord help give him more understanding of what karma really means, so that he can get to his blessing and survive all of this. I want them to be a survivor. I've been on this bike, y'all, 35 minutes. I love y'all so much. Please leave a comment. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to uploading another video for you within the next day or two. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. And please leave a comment. Thank you. Bye.